Now with this video today, it's just not about postcards. As you guys know, if you've watched the videos and seen my store, I also look at trading cards, like the different ones, little Partridge Family or Grease or Elvis or whatever little trading cards I can get. I'll sell them singly. So the special topic today is about Garbage Pail Kids. A unique sticker that came out on a parody of the Cabbage Patch Kids. You know, I'll get into some key points on those. And it's something to keep an eye out on. If you don't know about them, there's a lot of websites out there with a lot of information to identify them. But you got to be careful. I'll go through that after I go through what I sold. The last 2 days I sold a lot of cards. I already packed up 12 cards here for $60. And I have a bunch more to go through on there. So I can't show you these. I already did them. I did them the night before because we had a place to go. But we got home early, had a bunch more sales. Then I did a poll. It's probably one of the most important polls I did to find out what people like. The question was, what is your favorite postcard to list and sell? What do people like? I got a lot of comments to go through on those, and one of them is kind of long. And then I just got some viewer comments at the end. You always want to stick around for those to get what people are saying and how I respond. But let's go ahead and get going on these what solds so I can get through them and get to Garbage Pail Kids. The first card I sold is just a chrome card, Sunnyside, which is a Daytona Beach like resort thing. Just a chrome card, $4 to $5, unposted on there. The next one I sold was Frozen Salt Marsh in Massachusetts. It's a frozen salt marsh. Look at that. That's just a view card. $4 to $5. Then everybody saw, if you watched the Brimfield videos, I bought a whole bunch of NASA cards, space cards. This guy paid $45 for 10 cards, NASA cards. I'll just flip through them. This one, another rocket ship here. These are all chrome cards, NASA. I've been picking those up for over a year now. I'm getting a pretty good category on my eBay store with them. Another one. These are always neat. The blast-offs. Some kind of satellite floating around. And then we got the missile one sitting on a launch pad. These are all chrome unposted cards. Here's one. This is some kind of thing. This one is actually posted. And this was posted, 1980s, I think. And then we got this one. So he's got 10 cards coming to him. Paid $45. And that's with the 15% discount for volume discounts. So that was a nice sale for the NASA card. Next one I sold, this card sold for $8.65. And this is the Milling Mill. Cookies in New York. That one sold for $8.65 on there. This one is just a diorama. The custard sold for $4 to $5. Just a chrome card. It was posted in 1971. $5 bill. This is Fort Knox. Closest I'll ever get for a linen card. Fort Knox. Unposted. $4 to $5. Then with the Mary Martin auction video, I did pick up some of those beaded holiday cards. Now, just because they're beaded doesn't mean they're going to be worth a lot more. And I don't do a lot of holiday cards. I just wanted to get them to see what they are and stuff like that. They're kind of the way I read it, a beaded card is varnish and they put glass beads into them. Some can be real heavy and some can be real light. This is one that sold for $4 to $5. On there you can see the beads are along the turkey. Got some on her hair and stuff like that. And then this one is a very heavy beaded card. That's all beads on the turkey in there. And the beads are in the varnish. They are embossed. There's beads down at the bottom. But I put them up for $4.65 a piece. I wasn't going to try to raise them up because holiday cards and me and Thanksgiving cards, they don't go as fast. So I wanted to price them to sell. So that person bought 2 cards for $9. Then the last one on eBay is from that Mary Martin thing, was the insurance cards. The ones I got really cheap, no one wanted. Just the insurance billing. This is the Mutual Omaha's Regional Home Office, Miami, Florida. Chrome card. nice stock. So I'm already making sales from that auction. So eBay was 17 cards for $86. Then I have a massive sale on Etsy right now. I'm trying to close down my Etsy store, so I put everything on a huge discount just to move the last 500 cards out of there. Not doing real well. I think I've sold 3 since I put the sale on, but sold a boat, Portland, USS Portland. That one sold for $244. Yeah, I'm blowing them out. If I can sell them for $1 or whatever, I don't have to go pull them. And then this one's the Hornet, and this sold for $250. So that's all I sold out of the Etsy sale. So even with a huge sale on right now, with all the stuff going on in the economy, people just aren't buying like they were a year ago. I can see that in my toy store for sure. I threw a big sale on over the Black Friday deal for 4 days, really big discounts. I'm not moving anything. So it's just, people are not buying as much, and I can't control that. So I try to keep my expenses down and my margins. But overall, I sold 17 cards on eBay, 2 on Etsy, for a total of 19 cards for $91, plus another $50, $60 here, so $150 in sales on postcards. My cost, hardly anything. So that's the what's sold. Now let's get into the good stuff, what everybody came here for. Garbage Pail Kids. Now I'm going to show you some images of Garbage Pail Kids that I picked out across the thing while I go through some key points. Now I usually just give some teaser points, some facts, bullet points that I have, not really in depth because the video would be 2-3 hours long if I really did everything. But there's websites out there for Garbage Pail Kids that you can go out, they have checklists, they have history, there's so much about it. But make sure you vet out the information. Some of the sites are questionable, a lot of them are not. So if you see it 2-3 times, it's probably true. But a lot of people take some assumptions that I don't think are right, but a lot of them do it pretty well. But here we go with now I'm going to talk about the US series here. Even though there were multiple international series released, I will leave that up to you to research. Also, there's a lot of variations out there, and I'm not going to get into those that much because there's just so many. You need to know how to check what you have. You need to understand, if you go to an auction and see an Evil Eddie or whatever, Evil Nick, as we'll see here, is it the new ones or the old ones? There's certain ways you can see, so you want to brush up on those. Garbage Pail Kids is a series of sticker trading cards produced by the Topps company. Originally released in 1985 and designed to parody the Cabbage Patch Kid dolls. That's a key factor. They featured a Garbage Pail Kid character having some comical abnormality, deformity, or suffering a terrible, painful death with a humorous wordplay. As you'll see, a lot of controversy were around these cards. Some schools even banned them. Now there's 2 versions of each card were produced, with variations featuring the same artwork but a different character name, denoted by an A or a B letter after the card number. And we'll see that here in a minute. Originally these cards were printed with a matte finish, but it was thought they eventually ran out of the card stock and had to switch to glossy paper instead. Glossy cards are rare and tend to be worth more and more collectible than the matted cards. In 1986, Topps was sued by the makers of Cabbage Patch Kids. They stated that the Garbage Pail Kids were copied from the Cabbage Patch Kids. Topps negotiated an agreement but had to make some changes. One of the changes was the banner went from a curve to a straight in June 1987. You got to get your dates right. So if the cards have 1987 and the title went to straight, it's just another thing to check out to make it sure it's an authentic card. Others were about body changes, but I showed you the labels. One was curved and one was straight. So that's one of the part of the agreements. They took the curve out and then made it straight in 1987. The craze was finally wearing down, and in December 1988, Original Series 15 was the last original series produced and released. Even though that they did produce and develop a 16, it was never released. It was in August 2003. Topps released a new series and was successful, and they have continued to release new ones now. So there's new ones coming out now, and there's ones back in the 80s. You got to know the difference. Some of them look the same. You got to know what you're going to get. Now, at many auctions I go to, I've actually gotten up to $600-700 on bids, bidding war with people on sets of these original cards, and you'll see why. But I've never won. I'm usually not even close. Some of the people see it and they know what we all know what it is. So I haven't won one yet out of the auctions, but you will see them in auctions. You'll see them around. People don't know what they got. You can pick them up pretty price, for a good price, but they're out there. You want to keep your eyes open. Now let's go through some pricing, some things I found, some more facts. I went out and I got the top 6 PSA 10 glossy cards. So PSA is a grading company, and 10 is their highest number. And these are the cards, these are the top 6 cards with the prices and stuff that I found out there. So the first one is 1A Nasty Nick, 1985, $7,500. First card ever released. Sticker die cuts are a little off center, they said. But $7,500 for Nasty Nick, 1A. 8A Atom Bomb. Everybody that does Garbage Pail Kid, not Cabbage Patch Kids, Garbage Pail Kids knows about Atom Bomb. Atom Bomb 1985, 8A, $4,000 is what it's sold for. This one was used in a lot of marketing, so Atom Bomb was out there. 1B, Evil Eddie, and if you look, that's the same thing as Nasty Nick. Nasty Nick was 1A, Evil Eddie was 1B. 1985, $2,200. Same artwork as Nasty Nick. So those are 3 right there. If you add them up, $11,000, $13,000, $15,000 just for those cards, graded cards. The last 3, 22A, Junkie Jeff, 1985, $1,000. 5B, J Decay, 1985, $900. 24B, Nerdy Norm, 1985, $900. So these were the top 6 that I found. But if you look at the images here, you can tell why the schools wanted them banned and stuff like that. Some of these can get pretty gross. I thought they were hilarious. Now, with the pricing of these, I went through and I found some boxes and sets also. So it's a little different to my other videos. So let's take a look at those. So here's 2 series right here, then I'll get into the other 2. I got 4 of them to show you. So Vintage 1985 Garbage Pail Kids Original First Series Wax Pack Box, 39 packs. It had 35 bids, $11.75 shipping, $34,600 it sold for. Mega bucks. Next one is unopened 1985 Garbage Patch Kids Original Series 48 Wax Pack Box, $24,000. So those are the original boxes that were open with the packages in there. And then you get over into 1985 Topps Garbage Pail Kids Original Series 1, complete set of 82 cards, 93% glossy, $1,400. 1985 Garbage Pail Kids Series 1 complete, 82 cards, ready for grading, $1,300 or $1,400. Unreal money, unreal. But they are hot items, and they go fast at the auctions and stuff like that. Now I get into pricing. I didn't do any listed stuff. It wasn't really coming up good, so I just did the solds on these. I mean, that's what we want to understand more. But as we see here, there's a Garbage Pail Kids Series 1 Nasty Nick. That's 1A, not Evil Eddie. This is 1A Nasty Nick, $243. Then you look at this one, Nasty Nick again, This is a matted $195. So the glossy was $243, the matted was $195. But they're the same card, 1A. Then you get into a graded card here, Atom, $155, Atom Bomb, $155. Let's take a look at what's sold low. 1986 trading card, 21-3B, Elliott, 22 cents. So some of these are not worth that much. And that's what you want to really research. I always have to remember, because I don't see them that often, so I forget some of the stuff, and then before I go to an auction, I'll read up on stuff like this again, just to refresh my memory on what I'm looking for. Next one is Sutherford and Hay Garbage Pail Kid sticker card, 99 cents. 1987 Garbage Pail Kid, 41-4B, Yolinda. I don't know what the, it's probably $41.39. So the prices are, you got to be careful with these Garbage Pail Kids. You really got to vet them out and what you got. But they are great sticker cards, and you'll find them in boxes with postcards. That's why I got into trade cards, because I see, when I'm looking at postcards, usually next to it or in the box is trade cards. So I started pulling them out and selling them singly. I just sold an Elvis card the other day for $5. And I got a whole bunch of really nice NASA ones to put up. These are from Space Shots. These are just trading cards of different astronauts. You got to find the right buyer for them and stuff like that. But these will go nicely with my NASA stuff that I've been picking up. So I always keep an eye on. I got those less than a nickel a piece on there, and I'll put them up for $4.65. That's what I sell my minimum. But remember, there's websites out here. Now here's one website you can go to for the Garbage Pail Kids, and it's gpk.com. And here's the link. Read up on these. So, but that's Garbage Pail Kids. Real quick, get you going with them. Look for the Evil Nicks, or Evil Eddie, Nasty Nicks, Atom Bombs. Get like 4 or 5 in your head, so when you see them, make sure you know they're 1A, 1B, what year they are, what condition, etc. So, really neat cards to get. Garbage Pail Kids. Who knew? Now, next thing I usually get into is a poll. And this is probably one of the most important polls that I wanted to see the results from this year. What is your favorite type of postcard to list or sell? If you don't like what you do, you're probably not going to be successful. It's going to rub off. So that's where this comes from, is do what you like to do. I like chromes. I will dumpster dive for a chrome. That's from my era. I understand them, and I like to see it. I don't know what it looked like way back in the years ago, but I know what it looked like, in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, and it's more interesting to me. So I will go after the chromes. But I like the divided backs. I like the linens. I don't think there's any postcard I don't like on there. Now there's some that I won't list anymore. Cypress Gardens, Washington Sea, Mount Vernon, Niagara Falls. I got so many of those. Yellowstone, Yosemite. There's so much of those I have up already. I usually pass on a lot of those because of my volume. But if it looks good, it fits in the scanner, it's getting listed. So here's how it broke up. 65 people participated. Chromes, 28%. Linen, 29%. White border, 3%. That kind of surprised me with being dropped so far. It might be because that period on there, if you have the little error card I got, the white border is only 15 years. But then you look at divided back was only 8 years, but white border was 15 years on the era is what they estimate. But I think that's because they're more elusive, a little harder to identify. But some of the white borders, I'll key in on those and raise them a couple bucks. 3%. Divided back and undivided back, 23%. And then others, as we'll get into the comments here in a minute. So chrome and linens were the top ones, and linen was the top. So people are gravitating to the linens. The sellers, that 65 people that voted on there, was more for the linens, and then the chromes. Now remember, linens came out right before chromes, and then chromes came out, and that's kind of when linens died. Chromes kind of took over. A lot of people liked those a lot more than the linens. So I think linens would have done a lot better if chrome didn't come out. That's how my opinion, what I read. But linens are still cool, especially the large letter ones. But the vibrant colors on them and different things like that, people really gravitate to. They don't get as much top money as some of the divided backs, but they're just neat to do. But 17% left comments. The first comment was, and some of these go pretty quick, I got one long one in here. Kat D says she likes RPPCs. JI, RPPCs because they tend to make more money for me. Yes, they do. You will pay up a little bit more sometimes. You can usually find them in the quarter boxes, $50-something boxes, and get them cheap, and then they turn out to be pretty good. A lot of research sometimes with those, as you'll see here with Connie's message. Brian Goodman, any postcard that has potential to sell for more than same or similar cards because I use better keywords in the title. Yeah, if I got a card like this and there's 10 of them out there, I do a better job with the keywords and stuff, mine will come up maybe before those. So just depends how you list them. And thanks everybody for putting comments in. Andrea Caitlin, RPPCs, I find them most interesting. Beth Webster, I like them all. Each one is interesting in their own right. Absolutely. Bit Buffo, anything without glitter. And it's probably referring to because they scratched the scanners. I got a message the other day, somebody put a batch of cards in the scanner, and one was, I think, now they have a neon line like going down every card they scan. And they probably scratched the scanner. Those glitter they used back in the day is a mica type of glass. Glass on glass scratches. Glass on glass scratch. So try not to put any of those glitter cards through your scanner, because it can scratch the glass, the mirror, or whatever it's in those scanners. There's usually one on top and one on bottom, and it can scratch those. I've accidentally sent them through, and so far I haven't had that problem. But you want to be careful with anything with glitter from the older days or anything like that, because it can scratch. Metal add-on, those salt packets and stuff, just don't put those through your scanner because it can cause havoc and mess. Otherwise you'll get a line on your card all the time now, no matter what you do. Daryl Stockton, I voted for chrome because this is the era I grew up in, 1950s and 60s. Reminds me of my childhood growing up. Some of these places I had visited as a kid. I like RPPCs as well, but the good ones are hard to come by in my area. Yeah, do what you can find. Our Stephen Holton, I actually like the look of the linen cards best, but for selling, the divided, undivided backs and RPPs sell better. I agree with that. Boldly Grow Pickers, I love listing them all, but the linens just have a nice look and feel to me. Yep. Old to New Treasures, I really like listing all kinds as it's fun to learn about every era. Researching, he's a researching nut, but RPPCs bring the most money for me, so I tend to like them a bit more. Yes, I'm just the opposite. I go for quantity. I'll pick up RPPCs and stuff like that if I'm looking for my average cards and they pop up. I'll grab them if they're for 50 cents a dollar and there's something interesting on there. Now Connie, she really does a lot with RPPCs, does a lot of research. She jumps on them when she sees them, buys a lot of them. And she commented here, she likes RPPCs, would be her favorite. She loves the research. That feeling you get when you solve an unidentified place is awesome. I enjoy researching the people and the images as well. Getting that message of excitement from a buyer that you have their long-lost family member is wonderful. They are surprised by the amount of information I have collected. I've had many cards make it back to family members. Some who have never seen a photo of the relative before. That must be a good feeling, Connie. These cards give you a small glimpse into the lives of the past. I have sold RPPCs that some dealers would have tossed. Yep. I cannot toss them. I do my best to save them. They do take more time and research, absolutely. I'm not that artist sign researching. I don't enjoy it as much as Connie does, and she wouldn't enjoy what I do with the chromes. It's whatever you do, whatever you like, and if you don't like what you do, it's hard to be successful, but if you do what you like, you will be successful, like Connie here. You will end up in many rabbit holes, but they can also command more money. Oh, absolutely. I adjust my price according to the amount of research I do on each card. So Connie sees time as a cost, as a price of the card. And everybody should do that. So if you're spending hours researching a $4 to $5 Chrome card, you're not making, if you really look at it from a business standpoint, you're wasting money. Now, if you got an RPPC, she does all this work, finds the gentleman, finds where it is, and does all the research, and she spends 2 hours on a card. And she sells it for $40 to $50 or $60. Worth the time. But if you're taking this card right here with the balloon, and you're trying to figure out all this stuff, this is a picture of San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. A lot of them out there. It's a balloon. It's a bridge. $4 to $6 at the most to me. On there. This one, Hobo Joe. It's a restaurant type thing. It's probably a $4 to $6 card. There's probably a lot of them out there. A lot of people are not searching, maybe that one buyer. So if you're spending hours and hours and hours on those types of cards, you need to look at your time. I always tell people that. I do a quick look, and if it doesn't fall in, if it falls over $8, it goes in a special folder if there might be something more there. But a lot of times it ends up to be lower. That's what RPPCs can do. There's different models. My model is Chrome, quantity, $4 to $6 cards. The other ones fall in as I find them. Connie's is RPPCs, longer research, longer time, more dollars in there. Some people do the linens. It just depends. What do you like to do? Thanks, Connie, and everybody else. The next one is Kelly. He's bringing up the last comment on the poll. Linens. I know they aren't the most valuable cards, but the color saturation and the fact that those have stood the test of time is pretty cool. Absolutely. So linens were the top one at 29%. Chromes were second at 28%. Divided back and undivided back at 23%. And then white border was 3%. And then the other one's other was 17%. So linens was everybody likes, but like Kelly said, they don't demand the most money. But you got to have all these different cards in there. I stopped a long time ago trying to guess what people will buy. If I do that, I'm just building my own collection to sell. So if it looks good, card's good, condition's good, fits in the scanner, it pretty well gets listed. Unless it's holiday greetings or birthdays, Mount Vernon, as I said, those types of things, they go into the flea market box on there. But I try not to guess. I did a spreadsheet when I started selling postcards. If it was a rock, chrome, I tracked that for a long time. And what stuck out was the chromes. And all view cards, topical cards, it was chromes that came to the top. Chromes, linen, and divided backs on there. RPPCs now, money-wise, will go to the top. But it takes that one special person to get those and stuff. There's pros and cons to each one. I might be missing out on some good money, but I got bulk, I make it up in quantity. Connie makes it up in money for the time she spends. So she could sell 3 cards and make what I made in a month. But she might have 6 to 8 hours in each one of those cards. But she's doing the same type of work, amount of work that I'm doing. So you got to find your model, what you want to do. If you list all linens, you know you're going to have a lot of $4 to $5 cards. If you list all chromes, you're going to have a lot of $4 to $6 cards. If you list a lot of RPPCs, you know you're not going to be able to probably put up 100 postcards a day. It's going to take you some time. Once you get them batched up and stuff, you can do a little bit more. But you got to get more detail, more information. And if you look for the white borders, you need to understand how to identify those. And I have a video about white borders. And they're sometimes, and if I don't think they're white borders, they go to divided back. I let the collector figure it out. Same with RPPCs. If it's close on the edge, if it is RPPC or not, I can't really say, I don't put it in the title. I don't want that conversation. I'll let them figure it out. But that's the poll. Check them out on the community tab and participate. I'm getting great participation. It gives us a lot of information. I really enjoy it on there. So I got them scheduled out. I got a whole bunch of questions coming. Now this is the section, viewer comments. I pull comments from all over the place. Emails, Facebook, whatever. Sometimes I get them in there, but I usually don't answer Instagram or Facebook. So if you put, I do have a ID out there for SMPostcards, but I don't monitor it. I stay off those platforms, TikTok and all that stuff. It's just not me. So if you want to leave anything, leave it in the email address in the video description below. Now I got 4 comments to go over today. First one, Memphis Blazer, Steve, says, I moved to Memphis in 1992 and saw that Holiday Inn before it was demolished. So that's where the first Holiday Inn was built, and Steve actually saw it. So I replied to Steve, did you get a postcard? That would be great. But Steve actually remembers that, and a lot of people would buy a postcard of that because it's not there anymore. Nostalgic. Thanks, Steve. Lori Livingston, how's that? How many cards get torn and ripped in a scanner? This popped in my comments on YouTube, and I had to think. None. I don't remember the last time that I ripped anything in a scanner. I might have stuck something in there I shouldn't have, like an envelope and that was crooked or something, but I've never had the scanner actually destroy anything. So I wrote back, I really can't remember. Have you guys had your scanners? I know a lot of people feel that it bends the cards and stuff, but you gotta remember, people don't look at postcards like they look at sports cards, the edges and stuff as much. These things were mailed. These things were made to be mailed. So your condition is not at the same standard as sports card people and stuff like that. I deal with a lot of that in the action figure world. I got some people, they want a pristine, unpunched card, no scuffing on the bubbles and stuff like that. So I got to make sure I'm careful with some of those. And some of the collectors I know, I'll say, hey, it's got a little ding on the bottom left corner. You okay with that? And I'll send a picture of him. He says, yeah, I'm good with that part, but what about the bubble? Or, you know, is it unpunched and stuff? I shove tens of thousands of postcards through my scanners, and I don't have a problem. Does anybody out there have a problem with scanners? So some people just don't want to do it, and I don't understand why. It's so fast. Thanks, Laura. The next one is Alex Mentz. Wow, great video, so interesting. I'm rewatching it because there was so much to take in. That was that video that I met up with Tom, the judge in the stamp and Dear Doctor expert. That video was just amazing. The information I captured. And I was so happy when I captured it with a camera. Not the best cinematic video, but you can hear him talk and just the exhibits and how they put it. I'll never look at the back of a postcard the same again. And I've had to watch that video 3 to 4 times with Tom just to pick up on the little things. If you haven't seen that video, it's a great watch. It'll keep your attention. And I tried to cut out any spots that we were talking about anything else or whatever like that and just keep the information going. And he just does a super job of delivering it. And I hope to get Tom back in 2023 for any other topics that he can talk about, and do another Zoom call with him and maybe just talk about stamps, maybe cancels. That's what's on my mind. But check that video out. It's just super. I was so happy the way that one came out. And thanks everybody for watching. Now the next one, the Medicare guy. What do you think of Chrome Continental cards? I buy a lot of estate sale postcards and always filter out the Continentals. I got a huge stack of them unlisted. What do you do with yours? Do you sell and worth your time? I try to stick with linen and pre-linen only, but maybe I'm hurting myself more than helping. Thoughts? Now there's a video I did on Continentals. Continentals are newer. They're 6" by 4" cards. They will be newer. Now Disney Continentals I'll put up all the time. I have tons of them as well. They're not my top priority. Now if I run low on listing stuff, I'll grab a pack out of there. They're all packed up in 100 batches of about 100, 110 cards. I might do that. Now I did buy some Bermuda cards from an auction, and a lot of them were Continental. I did put those up because Caribbean sells. Oh, just sold a postcard. USS Langley, a ship. For $4.55. $5 bill. So Continentals can sell. They're longer sells. They're newer. So they're not my top priority. But I wouldn't say you're hurting yourself by not listing them. You'll get them in lots. Just keep them to the side. You can always lot them up. They're not going to go for a lot on eBay and stuff like that. But they'll find their time. And I would go through them. If you got some neat ones, people will buy them. I do. I'll throw in a batch of Continental every once in a while just to break it up. And they will fit in these Echo Swift envelopes. The Continentals will. So there's no reason not to do them except the sell-through rate. So go out there and check your sell-through rate on Continental cards, and you might see that they're a little different. But a lot of people are successful with Continentals. But I know from my people I sell to, they're not as fast sellers. And they're not a priority of mine, but you're not hurting yourself. Put up what you like. You like the linens, and before, that's your priority. You want to throw 10 Continentals in? Do that. You can do this any way you want to do. There's no right or wrong. At the end of the year here, and going to next year, I'm going to have a list of best practices that everybody's doing. And remember, best practices are not defined by eBay or Etsy. It's defined by the sellers more than anything. So if somebody isn't using EchoSwift envelopes, and 95% of the people are, the best practices would be use these envelopes. People, 95% of the sellers on this channel use these envelopes. There's got to be a reason why. But some people put their feet in the mud and say, I'm not doing it. It doesn't hurt me. It's whatever they want to do, whatever they like to do. You got to do what you like. But thanks, everybody, Memphis, Laurel, Alex, Rye, the Medicare guy, and everybody that put those other comments in. I appreciate the participation. It's fun to watch there, and it really vets out what we're seeing here and make us better sellers. Now, one of the things with those Garbage Pail Kids is, remember, die cut is not a rectangle. So some of those stickers are cut like a die cut. They're inside there, and they cut it. So when you unpeel the sticker, it's not a rectangle. And that's called a die cut. I have a video about die cut postcards. They can do pretty well. So check that out. You have a good day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.